Welcome
to Random Wednesday.
One can never be too sure who is going to show up on a Random Wednesday. Now, speaking of who, let's introduce everybody to this awesome group of summer staff that are joining us. They're a group of young adults who have joined us here at camp, and they're isolating and are living as a cohort at the fort. And they are here working hard and having fun, helping us with Camp4U, doing camp projects, and connecting with campers and other staff, and so much more.
Now, they are Darian, William, Dakota, Jamie, Amy, Cassandra, Christy, and Rachel. You may recognize some of them from other summers.
And yeah, not only are we happy to have them come here to the camp, but this week on Friday, for Tribal Melee, they are going to take part in some Tribal Melee games. And maybe they'll even get drafted to some of our teams. So make sure to check that out and see who's going to end up on which Tribal Melee team.
It's going to be fun.
It's gonna be tricky.
It's going to be random.
But also super exciting today is that later on we're gonna hear Rachel's story about how God is working in her life, and it's gonna be so good.
I think I heard a bit of a commotion outside earlier between like Whippoorwill and Bush.
Probably.
So
They're just crazy old
they may
folks.
show up later today too. I don't know.
But I hope you guys found a pair of shoes that have laces for our how-to video today, so that you guys can learn how we like to tie up our shoes. So let's go.
Let's get random.
How to.
Welcome to How to Shoe.
How-to shoe. That's not a sentence, Charlie. What do you mean how-to shoe?
We're actually talking about shoes today, Jordan. We're gonna talk about how to lace your shoes so that we get some sweet kicks, and how to tie your bows and knots in different ways.
Cool. So you're gonna show us how you do yours first?
Yep.
Here we go.
And then you're after. Okay, so today we're gonna take my shoes from this to this. So, come along with me. First we're gonna just slide those over a little bit. We're going to unlace our shoes. All of our shoes come usually laced from the store. If not, this is a great way to decide how you want to lace your shoes to wear them. As you can see, I've had my shoes for a little while. I really like wearing them with like sundresses or like shorts to just like spice up my summer outfits. I think white shoes are great for that, but as you can see, when you work at camp and wear white shoes, they get a little dirty. All right, so I didn't take them totally out. I left the bar across that they came with. And now we are going to put it in through the front of the eyelet. Gonna leave a little loop. We're gonna take the opposite lace. We're gonna feed it through the loop. And then we're gonna feed it down through the top of the eyelet. We're gonna pull them both so that they are about even, and that we can see this nice little twisty. And then we're gonna take this one that we looped through the other one. So we're gonna take it, we're gonna build our loop. Then we're gonna take the opposite one. We're gonna pull it through the loop, down through the eyelet. Then we're gonna pull them so that they're even. We're getting some fun twists on these laces. All right, and then through the top of the eyelet. Then we're gonna loop through, feed through the top of the eyelet. Pull nice and even through the top of the eyelet. Through the loop, and then through the eyelet again. So the key will definitely be on keeping your laces pretty even. And you can see that apparently through my different sides, I have gotten some slightly different twists going on. but I actually kind of like it. It's kind of fun. And as you finish it, you're gonna want to loosen and tighten them according to how they fit your foot. So now, we got the tongue, we got our laces. Now I'm gonna finish it with the bow. I'm gonna do a simple cross, then I'm gonna loop my left one. I'm gonna take the right one around, and then I'm gonna take it through the hole that I have wrapped around and pull at the same time, and it gives me a pretty little bow. Enjoy.
All right, it is now my turn. So we are gonna turn my shoes from this dun, 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 into this beautiful looking shoe. Whoa. So before we begin, some of you might be like, Jordan, those aren't your shoes. You have the same pair of shoes, which in fact I do. There are these ones, but these ones here are my fancy runners. These are my everyday runners. I have like 7 pairs of those, so we're not gonna worry about those. We wanna make my fancy ones from a normal shoe into a real fancy shoe. So we're gonna put that one off to the side. So just like Charlie, what we gotta do, we gotta take the laces out. Nice and easy, just like so. So we're gonna begin with our lace going through both of the very bottom loops from the top inside, just like that. You want your laces to be about the same size. Mine are. You can't see that, but that's okay. And then you're gonna just pick one side, doesn't matter what side you start with, and you're just gonna take the end of the lace and come up one hole. So you're just gonna come underneath, up one hole, pull it through. Then you're gonna take the lace and go straight across to get those nice straight lines. So we're gonna come straight across, kind of untwist it as you go so you get those nice straight lines. Then once that one is through and across, you're gonna take the other lace, the one that you haven't used yet, and you're gonna do the pattern that you do for the rest of the shoe. So this one comes through here, you're gonna skip this hole because it's full and come to the next one. So we skip the hole, come through, pull tight, and then we do the same thing where we just go across. Get that nice straight line. Perfect. And then you switch your lace again, back to the first one we did. You're gonna skip this hole because it's full, come into here, pull through, and pull across. All right, so I don't know about you guys, I've tried this a couple times and I keep missing this little thing through the tongue of my shoe. I like to go through it to hold the tongue up so it's easier to put my shoe on. So I think that it's actually this next time. So take my lace, skip a hole, come through, and then we're gonna come through the loop, and then it holds it up, makes it easier to put your shoes on, through the top again. Oh, got a little twist. Get it up. So what you're gonna do, you're gonna keep doing this until you are 6 holes up. Then on the 6th hole, you're gonna put both of your laces through on each side, just like so. So I'm 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, pull it through. So you can do this a couple of ways. You can continue going to the top of the shoe and then tie a knot and hide it underneath, and then you actually have no knots. But I like to have knots on my shoes. So I'm gonna come through, and then I'm gonna just do a simple crisscross. So I'm gonna crisscross underneath, come through, crisscross underneath, come through, and it gives it kind of a cool little finish at the end. All right, so when you get to this point, you're ready for your knot. So I do a very simple knot. It was the first way I was taught how to tie my shoes. It's the easiest, and I just never wanted to learn how to do it a different way. So what you do, you take your 2 sides and you make a nice simple cross right at the beginning. You just cross your laces once. So then it sits there just like that. Then on both sides, you're gonna make a loop on each side. So on each side we got one little loop. Then you're gonna take your loops, you're gonna cross them, and when you cross them, there's gonna create a little hole underneath. So you're gonna take this one loop, you're gonna go underneath, and then you pull tight, and just like that, your shoes are tied. It is that simple.
All right, thanks for joining us on How to Shoe. Hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, and you know what? we showed you how we tie our shoes, but we also want to see how you guys tie your shoes. So send us a picture or video of what your shoes look like or how you tie your knots or lace your shoes. We would love to find out, and you know what? It might even end up in the highlight video at the end of the week.
Who knows?
Story time.
Welcome back, everybody, to Story Time with Nana Whippoorwill.
And Grandpappy Bush. It's still us. We're the same.
We haven't changed.
Except for that time I shaved my beard when I was 8 years old. That was the last time.
Oh my,
Never again.
very long time ago that was.
Anyway, we are back to read with you guys once again. We are reading the Jesus Storybook Bible. So if you have one, please run. Go grab it to read along.
Quick, quick, quick.
Quick, quick. But if not, you can just snuggle in and listen to us as we read. We are reading today on page 236, The Captain of the Storm. Nana, why don't you get us started?
Very well, all right. The captain of the storm. The sun was going down. The air was warm and still. Let's go across the lake, Jesus said to his friends. Jesus had been helping people all day, and now he was tired. I'm very tired usually too.
I'm very tired right now.
Yeah. So they left the crowds at the shore and set out in the small fishing boat.
Jesus climbed into the boat to take a nap. Now, I get this Jesus guy. I could go for a nap right now.
Yes, yes.
But anyway, as soon as his head touched the pillow, he fell fast asleep. Just like Grandpappy. I don't even remember the last time my head hit the pillow. Just sleep.
Sleep?
Anyway. It was a beautiful evening. A gentle breeze rustled the sails. The friends were chatting happily
Oh,
as
I
they
love
had...
chatting happily with my friends.
It's the best. But anyway, they were chatting happily as they headed out into the middle of the lake. Everything was perfect. Just right for a nice, quiet sail.
Makes me think of years ago on the lake when it's so calm and beautiful.
Yes, years ago.
Oh my goodness! They were only about halfway across when out of nowhere, whirling winds swept across the lake, fierce and strong like a hurricane.
Oh, that sounds more like our lake.
Yes, it does. Whew. A blinding flash of lightning lit up the sky. And thunder roared right overhead. Oh, we get very loud thunderstorms at
Yes.
Camp. Yes, we do. The storm blew the water into the towering waves that hurled the little boat up, then sent it hurtling, crashing back down.
That's crazy. But anyway, the fishing boat was blown and buffeted and tossed and turned. Back and forth, up and down, left and right, round and round. Just all over the place.
Yes.
And in the middle of the storm, Jesus was sleeping. Can you believe it? He was sleeping in this storm. You know, Grandpappy probably could sleep in that storm. But anyway, Jesus was sleeping in the middle of the storm. Now, Jesus' friends had been fishermen all their lives.
Again, very
Just like the Grandpappy. But in all their years fishing on this lake, they had never once seen a storm like this one. No matter how hard they struggled with the ropes and the sails, they couldn't control their boat. This storm was too big for them. They should have had Grandpappy there to help.
Yeah.
They probably would have been okay. But
Yes.
Grandpappy was not there.
You need some very strong young men on those boats when the storms happen. But the storm wasn't too big for Jesus. Help! Help! And they screamed. Wake up! Quick! Oh, did I wake you up?
I was just about to sleep, but
Quick, Jesus! Rescue us! Save us! They shrieked. Don't you care? Of course Jesus cared.
Of course.
This was the very reason he had come, to rescue them, to save them, and not just from the storm. This is just little. Jesus stood up and spoke to the storm. Hush, he said. That's all. And the strangest thing happened.
What was the strangest? The wind and the waves recognized Jesus' voice. They had heard it before, of course. It was the same voice that made them in the very beginning, when they made the heavens and the earth and everything. Jesus was there. Anyway, they listened to Jesus and they did what he said. Immediately, the wind stopped. The water calmed down. It glittered innocently in the moonlight and lapped quietly against the side of the boat, as if nothing had happened. That sounds like a good time for a nap, not in the big waves. But
Don't get it.
Anyway, the little boat bobbed gently up and down. There was a deep stillness and great quiet all around. Then Jesus turned to his wind-torn friends. "Why were you scared?" he asked. "Did you forget who I am? Do you believe your fears instead of me?" Oh. Jesus' friends were quiet as the wind and the waves. And into their hearts came a different kind of storm.
I wonder what kind. How does it go in? The wind?
I don't know. But it says, "What kind of man is this?" They asked themselves anxiously. "Even the wind and the waves obey him," they said, because they didn't understand. They didn't realize yet that Jesus was actually the Son of God. They didn't know.
They didn't know.
Oh, Jesus' friends had been so afraid. They had only seen the big waves. They had forgotten that if Jesus was with them, they had nothing to be afraid of. No matter how small their boat or how big the storm. You know what, Nana? I think that still is with us today because Jesus, we can accept him in our heart. And that he is always with us.
Grandpappy is right. Always with us.
And then no matter what kind of storms or things that are going in our life, we don't have to be scared like the disciples in the boat because we know we have Jesus and we can rely on him.
Yes. He may look senile, but he still got the important stuff right.
That's right.
All right. Let us pray, and then you can go on to listen to a testimony from a very young person, I believe.
Okay.
Much younger than us.
Very young.
All right, but yes, remember what Grandpappy said. You can always have Jesus with you, no matter the storm. Dear Jesus, we thank you that just like you calmed the storm for the disciples, that you can calm the storms in our hearts and our lives, and that you go with us everywhere, as Grandpappy said. We just have to acknowledge that you are the Son of God, and we need to ask you to rule over our lives, just as the wind and the waves recognize that you also was the ruler over them. I thank you that you created each of these little children, or young children, I know they don't like being called little, that you created all these children and that you have loved them since you have created them. And even before then, I pray that you will bless them and that you will bless the young person who's going to share about how you have affected their life. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Nana. I thank you for listening to one of our stories. I'm sure we will be back soon.
Very, very soon if we can help it.
Bye.
Bye.
Hello everyone. First off, you might hear the rain in the background. I apologize. Can't really help the weather right now. My name is Rachel Greeno, and if you don't know me or you don't recognize me, it's nice to meet you, even though it's online. You probably have done that many times through this COVID season. So I'm just here to share a bit of my testimony. If I were to share it all, it would probably go on for hours, so I'm just gonna share a small piece of it. So to start, I was born into a loving Christian home with 3 older siblings and 2 parents that loved Jesus. And so there was never like a moment for me where it was like one big boom moment that my life was changed, where everything was different and I just knew Jesus and that was it. But because I've known Jesus for a long time, since I was little, there's been just so many different changes and things that God has done in my life. And so I can't really name them all in a few minutes, so I'm just gonna kind of share some things that I've learned over this past year. So to start, this year was a really tough year for me. I had a lot of hard things personally that I was dealing with, as well as COVID. I'm sure you guys can imagine for you guys it was also really hard, so that didn't really help things. But to start with, in the fall, I was in a really tough university course that just made me feel like I was a failure, that I was not good enough, that I couldn't do it. And on top of that, I had this like foot infection. I'm sorry, maybe too much information, but something that I had to constantly, had to be washing my feet and applying this special cream. And I was just so frustrated. I was like, God, why is my life so crappy right now? Like I feel so frustrated and bitter and angry. And I mean, being bitter is not fun. And so my sister one time was just chatting with me and she just said, Rach, like I feel like God is just seeing you kind of carry all this stuff and you're just like trudging up these stairs with a backpack full of bricks and these things you're going through and just sweating and you're tired, and Jesus is standing there saying like, Rachel, like I want to take those hard things from you. Like I want you to cast all these cares upon me because I care for you and I love you and I don't want you doing this anymore. Like you're not meant to carry all these heavy things. And I never thought about it that way, that Jesus just wanted me to just unload all of this onto him, rather than me trying to do it all on my own. And so I remember when I finally did kind of give all those hard things to Jesus, it was so freeing. I felt so much peace, so much joy and contentment. Even though I was still struggling, I knew that Jesus was with me. And I think something else, sometimes we don't always understand why we go through hard things, and I still don't always understand. But I also believe that God can use tough things to still bring glory to his name, to still do incredible things or teach us really cool things. And I think that was the case for me this year. I was able to learn through this kind of tough year that Jesus is my only steadfast, that when we go through hard things, that he is the one we should be calling out to because he loves us. He's always there for us. You guys might have like a sibling or a friend or your parents that you go to, you know, when things are wrong, you kind of have someone that you immediately go to. And that's totally awesome. It's great to have people in your life that you can go to, but we also have to remember that humans are not perfect, that they're gonna mess up, they're gonna let us down. But Jesus will not. He will never let us down. He's always there for us. He's always listening when we need him. And I think that's something I learned this year, that when things are hard, I can just call out to him and he hears my voice and he is with me through those things. He is journeying with me through those things. And I think that's pretty amazing. That he never leaves us or forsakes us. And something else I've kind of learned even this past week was kind of especially cool for me, was just learning about the story of the woman at the well who had like 5 husbands, or at least she had a lot of husbands, and was really looked down upon. And she met Jesus at the well alone, and in 7 sentences he changed her life. How crazy is that? 7 sentences. She went from going to the well to get water to bring back to her family, which it would have been a long walk, to instead leaving her water pot that she had initially gone for, to just go and tell people about Jesus, because that was all that mattered. And I think that even story just showed me that there are things in our life that we might hold on to and think that's important, like her water pot, but Jesus calls us to just let go of those things that we hold dear or that we just don't want to let go of, and instead submit them to him and say, okay, Jesus, I don't understand, or I don't know what you're gonna do, but I trust you. I submit to you. And I think when we submit those things to God, our life is so much more full. There's so much more peace. There's so much more excitement, because God's plans are better than ours. And it's so cool when we can just let him do that work and we get to be used. through what he's doing. So those are just a couple things I've learned this year that have been really cool. And if I ever see you in person and you want to chat more, I would love to do that too.
Hey, so it is super important to remember that no matter what storm we are going through, when we set our sights on Jesus, he brings peace in the middle of the storm. Now, it's always a good day when we get to hear stories about Jesus and the good that he does in our lives. And we got double duty today with Rachel's story and story time with Grandpappy Bush and Nana Whippoorwill. And you know, I think the only thing that would make story time even better with Grandpappy Bush and Nana Whippoorwill was if they were like decked out in camp swag. Wait, now you guys are wondering, like, what are you even talking about, right? What I'm talking about is I think if they were wearing like a brand new camp hoodie, they'd be way cooler. And especially if they laced up their shoes like we learned in our how-to today. But maybe they don't even need to be cooler because they're pretty awesome. But the camp swag this year is super sweet. So I want you guys to go check out our online camp swag store with the link down below in the description and make your camp experience this summer that much better. All right, so one last thing I don't want you guys to forget is that today, Wednesday, is the last day to get your submissions in for the highlight video from all of the challenges. So let me check my list. I want to make sure I remind you of all of the right challenges. Okay, we got trick shots, pit rocks and flower pots, campfire songs, memory verses, and how to lace your shoes. So I will see you on Friday for more camp fun. Get outside and happy camping.